Hello students, welcome to GS Score classes. I am your faculty and back with the another topic, and that is an important topic in a new program of General Studies Mains Advance. So I'll be taking your geography section. My name is Dr. Praveen Kumar. So I'll take the topic in the geography that is very significant and very much there in the news in nowadays in the current affair, as well as it is the most important topic likely to be asked in the examination. So let us discuss this topic in the detail and how to approach this topic and what the component to be added or to be studied this in the topic. So the topic is the marine heat wave causes, impacts and remedies. So marine heat waves or the terrestrial heat wave you must have heard. So terrestrial heat wave means the heat wave which blow there on the land. So we have observed the case of the high intense heat wave or terrestrial heat wave on the land in the last years, and one of the important year for the terrestrial heat wave was 2015. But recently, it was a new phenomena was recorded or observed on the oceans, that is marine heat wave. So that the marine heat wave is a new the physical change of the ocean water. That heat wave, we understand that the heat wave is a duration of the warm condition in the ocean temperature. So we can see heat wave is the ocean water or the sea water temperature exceeds above than the average for the period of 5 days continuously. So if you see this diagram, so if you see this in the diagram, there is a continuous of the 5 days from the beginning to end. There is a rise in temperature, and at a point where the peak of the temperature has been observed over the oceans. So that consecutively for the 5 days. So this is consecutively more or less for the 5 days. Consecutively when has been recorded over the sea surface temperature, that is marine heat wave. So this definition has been given by Hobday in the 2026. Sorry, uh, this was given by Hobday in the 2016. The definition has been given by Hobday in the 2016. So Hobday says there is continuous 5 days heating of peak of the temperature or the high temperature of the sea surface, that is called heat waves. So this heat wave is a very drastic change in temperature in the ocean water, so which reports of the excessively rise in temperature than the average. So this rise in temperature is average. So this is average temperature. This green line or the green curve, what you see, this is average temperature, and the temperature is above than the average. So this is responsible for heating of the temperature, heating of the sea water excessively over an area or over the region in the oceans. So that heat wave is responsible for increase in the temperature. So this has been observed as a disaster-like situation, for ocean water, so that this temperature rise has been recorded due to the certain factors. So next, let's take the what the causes are there or what causes responsible for the heat wave. or more precisely marine heat wave. First, it is the first factor which has been observed for causes for marine heat wave. Causes for marine heat wave. The first, it has been observed that there it is ocean currents. Ocean currents. So ocean current phenomena, we know the ocean currents blows, they blow or they move from lower latitude to the higher latitude. These ocean current, that is particularly warm currents. Warm currents moving from the lower latitude, or we can also say this is tropical region or zones to higher latitudes, or temperate zones, temperate zones. So the ocean currents are blowing from lower latitude to higher latitude or tropical zones to the temperate zones. They are displacing water from the warm seas to the cold seas. So if you see this in the map, the most prominent current has been observed there in the oceans. The most prominent current has been observed in the oceans, that is Gulf Stream. So Gulf Stream is blowing there in the coast of Gulf of Mexico, USA, and then it is reaching to Norwegian coast or as a Norwegian current. So this water, this huge volume of water has been displaced from the tropical oceans to the temperate zones. So in this way, the ocean currents are responsible for transferring heat from the tropical areas to the temperate areas. So that they has been responsible for increasing the temperature of the oceans. So consequently, these heat waves or the marine heat wave is responsible for excessively increasing the temperature of the temperature zone or the temperate zone. Here in this temperate zone or the subpolar areas, temperature shall be recorded higher than the average. So that will be responsible for the increasing the intensity of heating of the oceans. So in temperate zone, their temperature shall be recorded above than the average. So that will be called the heat wave. So ocean currents are a very important factor for the ocean heat wave or the marine heat wave. Second factor is their air sea heat influx. The second factor we say air sea heat influx. Here air sea heat influx means the warm air has been or the air blowing over the oceans. You can say this air blowing on oceans as winds. So winds most primarily they are also responsible for dragging the water from one ocean to the another oceans. So that the more of the wind has been responsible for also displacing the warm water from one place to another place. So when the warm water has been displaced under the effect of prevailing wind, so that the temperature of the ocean in the normal condition has been increased than the average. So that phenomena we usually observe in the case of El Nino. That's phenomena we usually observe in the case of El Nino, where El Nino is also another factor for the ocean heat waves or marine heat wave. For example, or if you see this on the map, the ocean current, the ocean water over the South Africa, or the America, over the west coast of South America, their warm current is blowing, or the warm water is blowing, expanding towards the west under the effect of west southeast trade winds. It is expanding towards the west under the effect of southeast trade wind or tropical easterlies. So this warm water, when it has been expanding, so this warm water has also been entering in the Indian Ocean from different means and the channels. So that the change in ocean water temperature, or the increase in the ocean water temperature, is responsible for marine heat wave. Marine heat wave. So the El Nino also responsible for the increasing the temperature of Indian Ocean, which in result adversely impact the atmospheric phenomena or the atmospheric circulation in the Indian Ocean, and in result it impacts entirely over India in the monsoon mechanism. So that have been observed that this causes that this arrival of El Nino, or the expansion of El Nino from Southeast Pacific to the Southwest Pacific and to the Indian Ocean, is responsible for rise in the temperature of the sea surface, or to heat the temperature of the Indian Ocean. That is responsible for the marine heat wave. So this marine heat wave is responsible for the change in the physical state of the ocean. So that marine heat wave is responsible for changing physical state of oceans. When I am saying the physical state means it is temperature condition of the oceans. So according to IPCC report, Intergovernment Panel for Climate Change annual report 5 says the average temperature of the oceans have been recorded about 0.6 degrees Celsius per century, and it is supposed to be, in future it is supposed to be increase of temperature between 0.6 degrees Celsius to 2.0 degree Celsius by the year or in the 21st century. So it means the incidence of marine heat wave shall continue. It shall continue. It means there will more of incidents of marine heat wave in the different oceans of the world. So it is a very, very big a destructive indicator. It is a very bad news for the ocean's biology or the ocean ecosystem. That rise in temperature of the ocean in this rate in the 21st century shall bring the big disasters in the different part of the world. So this is a destructive impact which oceans will be heated. So such an impact of the temperature of the ocean waves or the ocean water in the different locations of the world. So that would bring certainly disasters in different facets or the different forms of different intensity. So the coastal countries, they have a big challenge for to control this impact of the marine heat wave. So many of the countries have also started observing impact of the marine heat wave. So according to the study in the 2023, according to a study which has been conducted by a study so according to a study conducted by Wernberg in 2013, after the 2011 marine heat wave at coast of Australia, he says there is a adverse impact on marine ecosystem. So marine ecosystem shall be adversely impacted in terms of their habitat, and structure of ecosystem shall be disturbed. So they have observed it in the year 2013 that marine ecosystem in the coast of Australia appears like tropical region or tropical marine ecosystem. But earlier, the coast of Australia, it was appearing like a temperate marine ecosystem. The reason is their rise in temperature of oceans and seas under the effect of marine heat wave, so that the temperature composition has been responsible for changing the marine ecosystem. So that is started appearing similar to tropical marine ecosystem, which was earlier observing or earlier has been observed as the temperate marine ecosystem. So this is the impacts of heat wave or marine heat wave. The first, it has been observed that will be the big change in the marine ecosystem. Another impact, it has been observed that number 2, there will be change in natural habitat or habitat of the oceans. So it would affect the certain species of the ocean life or marine biodiversity or the ecosystem. So this marine heat wave shall distort it, or shall distort the natural ecosystem of the certain species in the ocean water. So that is adverse impact on the marine ecosystem or the ocean biodiversity. The third impact of the marine ecosystem, or the third impact of the heat waves, marine heat wave, is observed as there will be coral bleaching. Coral bleaching. We all know that we all know that corals are corals are a rainforest of oceans. Rainforests of oceans means they are the zones of rich biodiversity. So they are called they are called the rainforest of the oceans. So if temperature rises, so there will be a coral bleaching. Coral bleaching means there is a decoloration or whitening of corals. So that will be a big damage for the ecosystem or the marine ecosystem because of rise in temperature. So decoloration is the adverse impact on the corals. So if the corals will die, the other species or the other life in the oceans shall also disappear or will start dying. So the coral bleaching shall be the adverse impact for the oceans because of ocean heat waves or the marine heat waves. Then also another factor or another impact on the of the marine heat wave shall be observed, that the fishing shall be adversely affected. Fishing shall be adversely affected. Reason for some areas are there, or particularly cold upwelling zones. Cold upwelling zones are rich fishing grounds of the world. Their economy is dependent on the fishing only. For example, it is Peru, then Namibia, and the several of Western Saharan countries. So their economy is based on the fishing under the advantage of cold upwelling. So these cold upwelling, they bring the dead skeletons of the ocean animals or the species. So this becomes the food for the several small fishes, that is the phytoplanktons. So phytoplanktons are rich there in the cold upwelling. If this water of the cold upwelling has been heated, if it is heated because of marine heat waves, so that the adverse impact shall be observed on the coast of the countries where they are taking the advantage of the cold upwelling. So these countries shall lose their resource. The country shall lose their economic base. So that impact shall be observed to the countries. So therefore, the fishing grounds shall be adversely impacted because of the marine heat wave. They will change the temperature of the oceans. They will change the temperature of the sea surface. So that favorable condition shall not exist again or shall not prolong for making the condition favorable for the fishing for these countries. So that these countries shall be adversely affected, and these countries shall face the heavy dent on their economy. these countries will become dependent on the some loans or debts. These countries shall depend on the other factor or the other activities. So, their base of the economy shall be shaken up. These countries shall become the dependent of the others. So, that will be the adverse impact on the economy. Another factor it has been observed, the impact of marine heat wave is the biodiversity loss or biodiversity damage. Biodiversity damage or biodiversity destruction is under the effect of a rise in temperature, a rise in sea surface temperature. So, we all know that the photic zone that is up to 200-meter depth in the ocean water, that is rich zone for all the varieties of the fish, large, small, all fishes have been swimming or migrating from one place to another place with the advantage of or the availability of adequate sunlight into the ocean water. So, this photic zone is a rich zone of biodiversity. So, if temperature of this ocean only or sea surface temperature increases, then this also will affect of this life of the oceans. So, because of rise in temperature, their natural habitat also will be distorted. They will keep migrating. These species will start migrating from one ocean to another ocean, where they will find a suitable condition for their life or the habitat. So, this situation in the ocean water will also disturb the concentration of the marine ecosystem or the marine life. So, that biodiversity shall be damaged at a very large scale in the world. So, the many countries shall be affected with this, and the many countries, as we have just discussed, that many countries shall have the impact on their fishing ground. So, that way this heat wave shall impact very massively to the different countries of the world. So, that impact we see there specifically in the particular condition. So, this heat wave impact shall also change the wind pattern. This will also change wind system, because there will be change in the sea surface temperature, and the pressure shall be replacing from high to low or the low to high. So, the areas which are there in the permanently high pressure zone, so they will start affecting or recording low pressure center. They will start recording low pressure center. So, then there will be change in the wind pattern. So, wind pattern shall be changed. And also marine heat wave shall also impact on the excessive atmospheric phenomena. Excessive atmospheric phenomena. Excessive atmospheric phenomena means the certain changes shall take place very drastically, or we can also say a drastic change. drastic change in atmospheric phenomena. So that we have observed in the world in December 2022 at coast of USA. At coast of USA, we have observed because of excessive heating of the ocean water there at the east coast of USA under the effect of Gulf Stream. So this ocean water or the atmosphere of the ocean, there it becomes excessively warm or hot. And cold waves or the cold winds coming from the polar areas, cold winds coming from the polar areas from the USA and the Canada. So these cold winds have obstructed this warm wind which is there on the atmosphere of the coast of USA. So that became very much destructive or has been responsible for the sudden change in the atmospheric temperature or the atmospheric condition. So there has been a very drastic change in temperature along the coast by developing the strong front. And this area have observed a very big cyclone that is called bomb cyclone. So it has witnessed about the bomb cyclone. So that was because of excessive heating of ocean surface or of the ocean water under the effect of warm Gulf Stream. So that was observed in the December 2022. And it is also has been observed the western part of Europe. Western part of Europe has also been recording intense heating from the warm North Atlantic drift. So this also changing the temperature of the coastal areas, which would result in the intense temperate cyclones. And when this sea water will become more warmer because of marine heat wave, so this in the Norway, in the Iceland, in the Greenland, so their rate of melting of snow shall increase. Mind my word, I am saying this shall increase means it is certain to happen. So this increase in the rate of the melting of snow definitely will be there in the polar areas or the subpolar areas, which would again increase the sea level. So that sea level rise will be more of the intense because of the marine heat wave, because of this rise in temperature of the ocean water. So this is going to bring a big change in the sea surface temperature. It is going to bring a big change in the sea level also. So the coastal countries shall have the impact definitely in the adverse condition. So that these have been reported in the different part of the world. Then also India is not the country which is not been unaffected from the marine heat wave. In 2022, we have observed the impact of marine heat wave over India also. And also we'll say in 2023 is also the year where India witnessed the impact of marine heat wave. So that the impact of the marine heat wave in India is very specifically observed and studied because it is definitely going to impact the several wind system or the most particularly the monsoon system. So that the first, if we see the sea surface temperature change over the Indian Ocean will impact the first delayed monsoon. So if we see the impact over India, impacts over India, over India of marine heat wave, or we can say the impact of marine heat wave over India. So this first impact of the marine heat wave shall be observed thereon the rise in temperature of of northern Indian Ocean, that is the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. So the sea surface temperature shall be increased. Reason for that is these ocean bodies, they lie in tropical region, and during the summer time of northern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, the sun is vertical on Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degree north. So because of vertical of the Tropic of Cancer, so there the more of the angle of incidence will be higher. So that there the intensity of the heating or the rate of heating of the ocean water will be relatively faster. So in such case, when the temperature has been rising of the ocean, so that will be the adverse impact on the monsoon also. So when the temperature of the ocean is rising, so the relatively temperature will rise and the pressure shall be reduced. So this reduced condition of the pressure is adverse impact on the monsoon. So we have seen this case there in the 2023 when the intense cyclone developed in in or over Arabian Sea. So what was the mechanism of this cyclone? So here if you see this in the map, the cyclone had developed at the coast of Africa because of heating of the coast of Africa excessively, and this cyclone has been pushed forward by the monsoon wind and the Somalian current, and also field lateral jet stream has been pushing this circulatory motion of the wind towards India, and their temperature of the Arabian Sea was relatively more, or for generally if we see the cyclone condition, there we see the temperature of the ocean has been observed, or the temperature of the sea surface has been observed 27 degrees Celsius or relatively more, but there during the summer time the temperature of the sea surface is not recorded that high in the summer of northern hemisphere or the summer of the Indian subcontinent. But during the summer of the northern hemisphere or the summer of the Indian subcontinent, their temperature excessively recorded 32 degrees Celsius, 31 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius temperature of sea surface in Arabian Sea in the month of June. So that was above average temperature, or we can say this is excessively average temperature of this condition on the sea surface. So that has been responsible for developing the strong cyclone. So this strong cyclone has developed because of rise in temperature of the sea surface. So this has developed, the cyclone is Biparjoy. So we all are very much aware that the cyclone in the Biparjoy, the wind velocity has been recorded about 150 kilometer per hour. This was very close to be declared as the super cyclone. So this cyclonic effect has been observed very adversely there in the 2023 Biparjoy cyclone, was only the result of marine heat wave. Then also there the other impact of the marine heat wave is observed in the case of India is is in the effect of El Nino. We all are well aware about the origin of El Nino. It develops there in the coast of Southeast Pacific. So El Nino replaces, this is Humboldt cold current, but El Nino replaces this warm water condition there in the Southeast Pacific, and this expands westward under the effect of tropical easterlies, or it expands westward under the effect of southeast trade. And then after there it reaches there in the oceans or from the different channels in the Indian Ocean, which increases temperature of the ocean, and there the relative temperature has been increased more. El Nino is a natural phenomena, but when the normal temperature of the ocean is relatively high, so this El Nino effect increase the temperature of the ocean in the higher range. So the impact of El Nino is observed more, and then it becomes the adverse for monsoon system. Adverse for monsoon system. So that this definitely affecting the monsoon mechanism, which is very significant for India. So that certainly will impact the Indian monsoon. If that intensity of the heating continues of a marine heat wave, then definitely India is going to have the adverse impact in the coastal region, as well as the intensity of cyclones shall increase during the summer, when the cyclone usually of weak intensity or the weak capacity in the summer season. But in the 2023, their cyclonic effect has been observed very greater or the very high intense in the form of or in the name of Biparjoy. We have all noticed it, we have all witnessed it. The high velocity of wind has been observed, which was more than usual. So this is the problem. This is the disastrous condition for India as well as the world. But we cannot continue with such a situation. We definitely have to find out some remedies or the solution for this problem. So this problem we have called it it is a man-made impact or the man-made cause. So marine heat wave is not usually natural. It is more or less observed, it is man-made. Right? So how the man-made? So man has been responsible for increasing the temperature of the ocean directly, indirectly. So indirectly it is the man-made is a factor for or the cause for the marine heat wave or increasing the intensity of the ocean water. So through the global warming. So global warming is responsible for the more of intense rays of the sun reaching on the surface, which is increasing the heat absorbing capacity of the oceans. So if we reduce that, the man-made factors, or we control those man-made factors, then then the marine heat wave shall also reduce. Or we can also say in future we can see this reducing trend of the marine heat wave. So what man should do? Because man is the only factor, man is the only center of the cause of these waves or the heat wave, or in more precisely marine heat wave. So what solution and the remedies are to be taken by a man or human being? Or we can say the solution also. What are the solution the for marine heat wave? So the first solution what we say, number one, is reduce pollution of oceans. Reduce pollution of ocean, or reduce marine pollution, because increasing pollution is responsible for increasing capacity of absorbing heat. When the more of these the elements are more there, or the polluting elements are there in the ocean water, they have the capacity to absorb the more heat. So if we reduce pollution in the ocean water, then the intensity of marine heat wave shall be reduced, or at it or after some time this will become a very normal. Number two factor is, this is reduce or control oil spilling. So that in the recent studies, or according to few researches, that at least one ship sink in ocean every week. So means sinking of ship in the ocean is responsible for leaking the oil from the oil storage or the tank. So that this oil spilling is responsible for changing the chemical composition of the ocean water, and also it absorbs more heat. So that chemicals are mixed there in the oil, so they have the capacity to absorb more heat. So that this, if we control the oil spilling, so the intensity of the heating of the ocean shall be reduced. And also this oil spilling is responsible for the damaging ecosystem, marine ecosystem. So this control on these factors, we can also reduce the incidence of marine heat wave. Another impact or the solution or the remedy has been observed, that number three is control industrial activities and discharge at coastal areas. So that there, some of the industries have been set up there on the coastal areas. Then also they have been discharging their waste into oceans, which is increasing the level of pollution more in the oceans, so that they are changing the composition of the oceans and been responsible for the increasing temperature of the oceans. Then also developed countries, they have been doing some nuclear experiments, or also some nuclear plants have also been established at coast. So leaked reactors therefrom, or the radiation from the coast from the plants have been mixed there in the ocean water, which increase the capacity of absorbing heat of the oceans. So that if we control or stop these activities, then heating of the ocean water shall be controlled or will be reduced. So, these solutions or the remedies are the only possible or only way out for reducing the impact of marine heat wave. Otherwise, marine heat wave in future, heat wave in future shall be declared a disaster, shall be declared a disaster, which would claim or which would cause the definite or the several lives in the coastal areas, and also many of invisible impacts. So these invisible impacts we will be able to observe or will be able to to visualize those damages when this such a disaster will occur. So the very small impact we have recently seen, that in the case of Biparjoy. Biparjoy. So this Biparjoy has affected the monsoon system. So because of this cyclone, because of excessive heating of this sea surface in the Arabian Sea, it has affected the monsoon system also, and we can observe it that their monsoon over the Deccan Plateau has been delayed, where it was supposed to happen the rainfall on the 1st of June, 1st to 5th June at the coast of Kerala, but their cyclone has or the monsoon has reached on the 10th of June. 10th of June, and this 10th of June is the date of reaching the monsoon at the coast of Maharashtra, where the monsoon has reached on the 25th June. So this, the winds which would have reached to the Deccan Plateau or the west coast of India, they have all converged there in the cyclone system because of heating or because of excessive heating of the sea surface. So rise in the sea surface temperature is responsible for intense cyclones. And according to a report of World Meteorological Organization, the intensity of cyclone is gradually increasing year by year, so that the intensity of the cyclone is increasing year by year under the effect of the rising sea surface temperature. So we find that this cyclone is breaking the many previous records in the coast of Philippines, in the coast of Japan, in the coast of USA. So because of this rising the temperature of the sea surface, we have been observing the many damages. So that we must have to control the marine heat wave. So I hope you have understood this concept, and then the impact. This is the most likely topic there to be asked here in the examination, particularly there in the mains. And so I wish you all the best. I am your faculty, Dr. Praveen Kumar. So we'll see you again in some other topic. Thank you so much.